once I started following Mark Hyman on Instagram, and now I'm a disciple of the pegan diet. I really everything he preaches, I'm a disciple of. And I've noticed huge gains, and the biggest of that being on the nutritional side in what I'm eating. And it's impacted every single element of my being, quite honestly.
Huge fan of Mark. Mark's a dear friend, and some of our listeners may know this, but Mark attended we used to do this event called Revitalize until, the event stopped, obviously, but they're coming back. But we did an event called Revitalize in 2014, and I was interviewing Mark, and he coined the term pegan diet at our event, and it stuck. And he wrote a book about it, and I think it's so attractive because we tend to live in a world where diets are mutually exclusive, where it's, oh, you're vegan, you're paleo. But
Right.
Mark said, no, it's pegan. Like it's going to be plant-based, plant-forward diet, very little meat, cut out the grains, refined carbs, and so forth. And it's more inclusive and it works.
Yeah, it's worked for me. And I tried the vegan diet briefly, but I've always found that protein was good for me. Animal protein, I felt like my body responded favorably to that over the years. I just kind of went based on how I felt. So I thought that his diet really hit the sweet spot for me. And then it really made a lot more sense once you take into consideration the source of the food that you're getting. And so it answered a lot of questions for me. I've read a couple of his books, and it's been extremely enlightening for me. And so now, like you just said, heavy with vegetables, more so than I've ever been before. But I complement that with grass fed beef or pasture raised chicken. And it's worked really well for me. I'm reminded, I say this, that a buddy of mine that I used to play ball with told me that you never hear young people say they're in the best shape of their life. You only hear people that are old say that. Well, I'm 55 years old, and I will tell you, I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life in every way, mentally, physically, emotionally. And a big part of that, I've never met Dr. Mark Hyman in person, but he's been a big reason as to why I feel as good as I feel.
Well, after this call, we'll talk. I'm happy to introduce you if you've never met him.
Yeah, I would love to. We've texted a little bit, but I've not actually met him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of, you mentioned grass-fed beef. I'm curious with the pegan diet, what works for you in terms of frequency of meat? Is it, once a week? Is it once a month? Like, how do you think about meat consumption in general? What works for you?
Well, I'll have, I would say once a day. I eat, whether it's chicken or beef, I eat a lot of fish, but I have a protein source, one of those three, pretty much for lunch or dinner. And I do the intermittent fasting, which he's a proponent of. So I have a big lunch at noon, eat dinner at 5. I have a guy who comes in and does meal prep for me, and he does organic granola that I'll have. It's just kind of something I'll have about 8 o'clock at night before I go to bed. I make sure and get my rest as best I can. But that's pretty much what I eat during the course of a day. And I don't feel hungry the times that I'm not eating. It's really pretty surprising that for someone my size, I don't feel deprived. I don't feel hunger when I'm, sticking to that intermittent fasting.